Strangers, believe me when I say, loving me is loving danger. Your heart is bound to break. I walk alone in the night, neath the pale moon. Loving's for the fools. Baby, beware of my bite. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a creeping through the shadows and the corners of your mind. I go where the wind blows. I run but I don't hide. I hear the call of the wild, whispering the name. No, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a
Alright, guys. Oh boy. Alabama mayor, eh? Oof. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright. So guys, obviously, as you know, we're a little bit later today. Had technical problems, actually. We're supposed to start at 10, which is now normally later than normal. But for some reason, the stream wouldn't engage. So we had to literally restart the stream. But yeah, okay. So, yeah, alright. Euthanasia. Oof, we got to start on that one, are we? Alright, let me go through and tweet out this link, and then we'll start with the demonetization. Sorry, the stories. Alright. Okay. And move that over to here, and move that over to here. Alright, so we go through and tweet out. While I'm doing that, guys, obviously smack a like if you haven't already. And we'll get the show started in just a sec. Just want to tweet out the link so everybody knows it's up and running. Alright. Tweet. Post. Alright, done. Okay, let's get the show on the road. Let's start it and start with demonetization, I suppose, because, well, for the first story alone, well, we're already demonetized apparently. Yahoo! Yeah, something to aim for every day. Demonetization. Hey, Eric, how are you? Yeah. I'm trying to work out how to do the LED strip lighting right about now, so yeah, it's fun and games. It's fun and games until you realise you're spending thousands of dollars. But on the bright side, I went and brought all my appliances yesterday, so that's cool. All right, so Noa Pothoven of Amsterdam in the Netherlands is legally euthanized. A 17-year-old Dutch girl has been euthanized at her home. She said the trauma of being raped as a child made her feel that she couldn't keep living. Yes. It's funny because they're actually saying it's a Tommy supporter. It was a Czech, was it? Oh my. Alright, let's go through. Let's start these stories. Alright. So, Noa Pothoven of Ahern in Netherlands is legally euthanized. A 17-year-old Dutch girl has been euthanized at her home. She said the trauma of being raped as a child made her feel she couldn't keep living. So, Noa Pothoven, 17, has been legally euthanized in the Netherlands, saying that the pain she was dealing with after childhood rape was insufferable. Noa from Ahern said in Society Media Post the day before her death on Sunday that she breathes but no longer lives. Noa wrote an autobiography called Winning or Learning After Sexual Assault and Rapes as a Small Girl Led to Develop Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, Depression and Anorexia. She was attacked 3 times as a youngster. The first 2 incidents were in the molestation where she attended a child's party aged 11 and 12 before she was raped by 2 men when she was 14 in the elder neighborhood of City. For years, she never revealed the horrific abuse because it left her feel ashamed, the 17-year-old said. I deliberated for quite a while whether or not I should share this, but deciding anyway, she wrote, maybe it comes as no surprise to someone given my post about hospitalization, but my plans has been there for a long time and it's not impulsive. I will get straight to the point. Without a maximum of 10 days, I will die. After years of battling and fighting, I'm drained. I have quit eating and drinking for a while now. After many discussions, evaluations, I was decided to let me go because of my suffering was terrible. Out of fear and shame, I relieved the fear and pain every day. I always scared, always on my guard, and to this day my body feels dirty. My house has been broken into my body that can never be undone. Noa spent her final hours saying goodbye to her heartbroken family and friends. She asked them not to convince me that this is not good. This is my decision and it's final. Well, it's definitely final, that's for sure. She said her mother, Lizard, had always been there for her. However, according to Dutch law, her mum did have a say in her daughter's decision. Last year, she revealed admitted to hospital for a certain condition after her anorexia left her organs on the brink of failure. Doctors placed her in a medical-induced coma to feed her through tubes. So these photos don't really show it, but she was actually quite a young, beautiful girl. Like for her age, of course, but yeah, she would have grown up to be a very beautiful girl when she got older, or at least somewhat attractive. So look, I get the fact that she was raped. I get the fact that she went through a whole horror of abuse. I get that it's tragic, but I don't know. Is this really winning? Is this really been victorious when it comes to the sexual abuse, or is this letting it win? That would be my argument. Is at the end of the day, is this giving end to the abuse and saying you're powerful than me, I'm weaker than you, you're better than me? Or is this, fighting the abuse head on and taking back your power, so to speak? Personally, I see this as an easy way out. I think she should have kept fighting. And look, the organ failure and all that, that's all because of anorexia. That wasn't because of the rape. Sure, the anorexia was caused by the rape, but I don't know. I just see this as I don't want to say a coward's way out because she suffered abuse, but I don't know. I just see this as the easy way out. This is the I'm just quitting. I'm just gonna throw my king off and queen off the board. I'm just walking away from the chess set. After you've been defeated or so, or I've had a setback, so to speak. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? My thing is that if she had got better over time, and if she had became a somewhat well-adjusted person in society, would she have regretted this decision, or regretted, if there's two versions of her, and one is where in the future she's well-adjusted, she's over this, she's got a boyfriend, a decent guy who treats her well, which probably would never happen because she'd never date anyone like that. But at the end of the day, would she look upon this decision as a mistake? That's always the question that I have, and I don't know, guys. What do you think about this? Do you think that she was legally, obviously she's legally right to euthanize her own self, but do you think it morally that she's right to do it? Do you think at the end of the day that she was right to take this choice, or do you think at the end of the day that this is the coward's way out? And what are your thoughts? I don't know. I want to know what happened to the guy, or the guys that raped her. What happened to the guy that actually did it? I can't find anything on about him. Everything's just all about her being euthanized. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Eric says, there's a similar story a few years ago. I forget the details of where I saw it, but there was a woman that was suffering from painful terminal disease. She wanted to be euthanized. See, the terminal disease I can sort of understand a little bit. This girl, yes, she was having medical problems, but that was caused by anorexia. That was caused by her not eating. That wasn't caused by the rape, for example, right? Might have been a side effect of it because of the whole rape. She didn't want to eat, therefore she wanted to euthanize. It's a process. But, like I say, at the end of the day, it's not the direct result. That the anorexia, that the not eating, that was... It's part of her mentality, I suppose I want to say, in a nicer way. It's, she has this defeatist attitude, so the only thing she could do to take back power, and this is actually common with a lot of people that have anorexia, is reportedly anyway, is that the fact that they feel like they have no control over their lives. So the only thing that they can do is to control what they eat and don't eat, or drink and don't drink. It's a common side effect of people that have been raped, reportedly, because it's the only, or people that are in abusive relationships, because it's the only fact that they can feel where they have any power in their life. They have no control over anything else, so therefore the only thing they can control is what they eat or don't eat. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think at the end of the day she should have been able to euthanize? Do you think at the end of the day that she should have, kept fighting? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright. So we're going to have a little bit of an update now on, you guys remember the Parkland shooting that happened, I think it was, back in 2018? Yeah, February 14th, 2018. So over a year ago now. The deputy, there was a lot of people that were claiming that he failed to go in. He even said that he waited out on the side. People were claiming that he didn't go in. It was causing other people to die. He could have gone through and actually gone in and shot the gunman, possibly saving lives. There were a lot of questions asked regarding that. His name was Scott Peterson. So the deputy who failed to confront Parkland shooter is arrested for inaction. Former Brown County Deputy Scott Peterson has been arrested over his failure to do anything to stop the Parkland gunman during the February 14, 2018 attack. On March 15, 2018, Breitbart News reported on surveillance video that allegedly shows the Petersons standing outside Building 12 while the attack occurred. Now, then Brownie County Sheriff Scott Israel told ABC News the video shows Peterson arriving at the west side of Building 12, take the position, but never going in. 17 innocents lost their lives during the attack. On June 4th, 2018, Breitbart News reported Peterson telling CBS News that he would enter the building in a heartbeat if given the chance to do it again. WPLG reports that Peterson is now under arrest. NBC News investigative reporter Tom Winters reports that the Florida Department of Law Enforcement has charged former Brownie County Sheriff's Department Scott Peterson, age 56, with 7 counts of neglect of a child, 3 counts of culpable negligence, and 1 count of perjury. There were reports that he had lied under oath. So deputy who stayed outside during Parkland school shooting faces criminal charges. The former Sheriff's Department was arrested Tuesday in connection with the 2018 mass shooting at the Majority Stone Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, the latest in a series of actions to hold police accountable for their response to an attack that left 17 people dead. Yeah, I would agree, actually, Eric. Scott Peterson, a former Broadback County Sheriff's Department deputy who was the security officer assigned to the high school, faces 11 charges of neglect of a child, culpable neglect, and perjury as a result of an investigation by the Florida Department and law enforcement, the authorities said. He was taken into custody and would be booked into the Brownie County Jail on a $102,000 bond. The FDLE investigation shows former Deputy Peterson did absolutely nothing to mitigate the MSD, or the shooting, would that be, the Majority Stone Douglas shooting, yeah, that killed 17 children, teachers and staff, and injured 17 others. The department's commissioner, Rick Swalwell, said in a statement, there can be no excuse for this complete inaction and no question that these inaction cost lives. Officers determined that Mr. Peterson, as well as Sergeant Brian Miller, neglected their duties and they were both terminated on Tuesday. Mr. Peterson was taken into custody after administration discipline hearing. The criminal charges were an unusual instance of law enforcement officers being held criminally liable for failing to protect the public, which is a good thing, I would say. Civilian lawsuits have become part of the course following mass shootings in the United States. Families of the victims and survivors themselves use litigation to hold institutions, both public and private, responsible for failing to keep people safe, as well as to push for policy change or to collect compensation for emotional or physical trauma or death. Those lawsuits have also taken aim at the companies that manufacture guns and firearm components, like bomb stocks. But experts say the criminal charging a law enforcement officer for allegedly being neglected in this response to a mass shooting is new ground. I would say it's probably right though. If he did not, the police literally have to protect and serve written on the side of their car. If they do not do that, if they are not protecting or serving the public, then yeah, if there's a mass shooting and you fail to go in, I would say you deserve to be held liable or criminally liable. You could have stopped that and you didn't. To me, that is definitely something that, yeah, it's definitely bad. So, yeah. This is the first time I've absolutely seen anybody charged like this. It's Clint Van Ziltz, a former profiler with the FBI and expert on mass shootings. I think every police officer, sheriff, and FBI agent understands you have to go with the threat and stop it, that we no longer wait for SWAT or set up perimeters. I don't know. I don't know. Personally, I would have gone in. If I heard gunshots, or if I knew there was an active shooter shooting people, even if I was a civilian, if I had a firearm, I would have gone in. I don't care if I had died in the process. I would have bloody gone in and stopped the shooter. But that's me, I suppose. The sweeping 15-month investigation includes interviews with 184 witnesses, along with the reviews of video surveillance, to piece together what officials acknowledge was slow and chaotic law enforcement response. So it just keeps going and going and going. Look, I don't know, guys. I support this. I really, really do. I think at the end of the day, he failed to go through and do any action. He's supposed to be there to protect and serve. He didn't. I really don't have a problem with him being charged over this. I don't know, guys. Am I being too harsh? Do you guys agree? What do you guys reckon? Do you reckon he should be charged? Do you think at the end of the day that he did fail to act? Or do you think at the end of the day that he should have waited for SWAT? And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are. In chat. If I was armed, I would have went in, even if it meant being killed. At least I would die knowing what I did I could. Exactly. Even if you die in the process, even if, that's bullets that he is firing at you instead of someone else. That is possibly some young kid, some young family, whatever it may be, that is going to survive. Because that's one less person he can shoot at. So, yeah. The slowing, the killing, or taking him out before too much civilian... that something or rather... I'm not going to say that word. Deserve, because I've already demonetized as it is. Deserves to be put in general population. Police training in the US, they are not trying to try their best to take the gunman down. No waiting for SWAT, because there is a way better chance of slowing the killings or taking him out before too many civilian casualties. Yeah, that's what I would have thought. I would have thought that... I don't know how he's going to go in Gen Pop. Holy shit. But yeah, police training in the US, they are trying to try their best to take the gunman down. I don't think he did that. That's the training at the WV State Police Academy. Okay, cool. At least someone got held accountable for the Parkland shooting. Well, yeah. If I had anything to say, the poor girl, the monster wins. Yeah, okay, that's a previous story. Yeah, at the end of the day, guys, I don't know. I really... I have a problem with him not acting on this. like I say, it's been a little bit of cuck. It's just, oh, I don't want to, yeah, and he said he heard the shots. He knew what was going on inside. You know, he said I think he said he didn't do it because it was, I don't know, he was scared or something. I don't know, I can't remember what he said now. It's 15 months ago. God, the news travels so fast, doesn't it? But at the end of the day, yeah, I would say, look, he deserves it. He really does. He failed to protect and serve. That is literally your job. So, yeah. Like, yeah, has anybody ever seen the movie? I think it's 44 Minutes. Where I'm going to try... Actually, I'm going to show you this, guys, this clip. It's where I think it's the Los Angeles bank shooting. So, this is... Now, this is probably a little bit of a dramatization about what happened, but to give you an idea, this is based on true stories. Alright, so two guys basically go into a bank and to rob it. The problem is that back in the day, this is back in the 70s, I think it was, they've gone through and the police only had pistols and stuff like that. They didn't have the assault weapons or anything that they do now. But these guys did. So it was very much a case of the cops were outnumbered, right? So they go in, they rob this bank, they take the money, and obviously the cops then turn up to confront the bank guards, right? Now there's a reason why I'm showing you guys this, so bear with me. Sorry, I just muted. So the reason why I'm showing you this, right? This is based on true events, mid-90s. Was it? Was it only in the 90s? Oh, okay. Jeez, things change. But this is the incidents where I'm talking about, right? These are cops that are going up against guys with freaking AKs. And you actually see in here, the cops only have handguns. That is all they had. They had handguns against guys with AKs for days, rounds of ammunitions, thousands of rounds or whatever it was of ammunition, plus they also had body armor on. So the cops were outnumbered, outgunned. Well, they weren't outnumbered, but they're definitely outgunned, right? You'd literally see them just firing bullets everywhere. Bullets are going through the cop cars, just wrecking everything, right? Firing hundreds of rounds. The cops had no choice. They had nothing. All they had was handguns. Yeah, they had body armor, yeah. Yet it's funny because these cops were still returning fire. These cops were still taking on the gunman. Now, like I say, this is probably a little bit of a dramatization, a little bit of what happened. I'm expecting Hollywood's, beefed it up a little bit, but from what I understand from the situation, my brother was telling me about this because he was the one that originally... If you guys haven't seen this movie, go and check it out. It's a really good movie. But at the end of the day, it didn't take them an hour at all. It took them hour and a half. Yeah, so TL seems to know a bit about this, so let's read what he just said. Didn't take them an hour and a half to kill the second gunman. He actually ended up shooting himself. Yeah. So like I say, there's a little bit of creativeness with the movie. Obviously, did some research into the real event. But what I wanted to highlight in this, right? The cops had nothing more than handguns.
Aim for the head.
Right? And all the cops had were handguns, with these guys firing hundreds of rounds. completely outgunned. But yet you don't see the cops standing outside saying, yeah, we're not going to engage this guy. You know, what did the cops do when the guy walked out? Started opening fire. Started taking him on. What did the Parkland Shooting police officer do? He waited outside. That's the difference between the cops back then and some of the cops now. Now look, hashtag not all. Yeah. Yeah, or the documentary, yeah. What's the documentary called? Do you know, Tia? I forgot what the documentary is called. Yeah, they had so many, yeah. They had literally hundreds of rounds. Obviously, and from what I understand about this situation, Tia will probably be able to correct me on this if I'm wrong, but this is actually the thing that changed the gun laws regarding what the police carry. Because of this situation, police were allowed to then start carrying heavier weapons. In this actual movie, they actually go through and they actually go into a gun shop and buy the firearms to go through and so they could actually take on the where is it? I think it's called North Hollywood Shootout. Yeah, I think it's called that too, actually. That sounds familiar. I think that's the one I watched. But yeah, the cops in the ended up getting some automatic weapons themselves. And yeah, taking out the gunman, well, taking out one of them, and I think the second one, like he said, shot himself. But that's not that. The reason why I'm showing you this is not because it's a really good movie to watch, but because of the fact that compare the cops in this situation, who are literally going through and are shooting at a guy, taking on a gunman head on. Literally chasing these gunmen. When the gunmen flee, right, they get in the car and drive away, in this movie anyway, the cops continue to chase them. They don't sit there and go, well, you know, these guys have got guns and I don't really feel like doing it. Oh, cool. No worries, yeah. But like I say, yeah, so, like I say, the cops actually engaged this shooter. They went after this shooter. And compare that to this guy who literally sat outside and waited. Yeah, he shoots himself in the foot, then he shoots himself. I think that's actually in the movie, isn't it? But yeah, anyway. But like I say, yeah, I think it's actually in this. But anyway. Like I say, look, there's probably some creative differences taken when it comes to this. So I'm not expecting this movie to be based on... It's based on real events, but it's not completely factual because it'd probably be a boring movie. But at the end of the day, compare the cops in this shootout compared to the cops in the Parkland shooting. That sat outside. That didn't engage the target, that just sat there and let people die. That's the difference between some cops. Now, hashtag not all cops these days are like the Parkland shooter or the Parkland police officer, obviously. But, just to give you an idea of the difference between some of the cops. Some cops will actually engage, others will sit back. I have no problem with him being charged over this whole situation. I really, really don't. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright. By the way, if you haven't seen that movie, or the documentary, go and watch it, because it's really, really good. Really interesting. Alright. Okay, baby Trump blimp is deflated by Tommy Robinson's supporter, who is then arrested for possessing a sharp weapon During an anti-Trump protest in central London, Tommy Robinson supporter deflated a balloon with a pointed or bladed article, reportedly filmed herself attacking the Trump blimp, saying it was a disgrace. Pictures from the Parliament Square show the anti-Trump protester with the limp balloon. So they're claiming it's a Tommy Robinson supporter. Do you guys... No, that's okay, man. No, it's okay. We're actually talking about the situations. That was all good. I don't know if that is actually correct. Has anybody actually managed... No, I haven't done this yet, so I probably should have. But as Tommy Robinson came out and admitted it was one of his supporters? Let's see. He hasn't posted anything on Gab in ages. Where's the best place to find Tommy Robinson these days? Trump blimp. So they're saying it's a Trump supporter, and other people are saying Tommy Robinson. Now, obviously, they're not mutually exclusive. One can support the other. So people are saying it's a Trump supporter. Anyway, I can't see anything that says if it's Tommy Robinson or not. I'll have to look into it. But anyway, jumping back into the story. The baby balloon Donald Trump blimp flying over Parliament Square as a part of the protest during the US president's visit has been deflated by a Tommy Robinson supporter, according to this guy. An angry woman live-streamed herself attacking the floating object earlier today before being arrested by police. Protesters first flew a 20-foot likeness of the president over the Capitol in July last year, with London Mayor Sadiq causing controversy by allowing it to be used. The woman popped the balloon while shouting, "This is a disgrace." Anti-Trump protesters were pictured picking up the balloon after the incident. The Metropolitan Police spokesman said as of 5 p.m. Tuesday, of 4th of June, one female has been arrested in possession of a pointed blade article. The woman, who's believed to be Amy Dallamar, I shouldn't have said that, but anyway, claimed the attack was a birthday present to herself during the video broadcast. Dallamar uses the handled based Amy. Oh, okay, it was her. When posting online, and has previously been spotted at marches and supporters of Mr. Robinson. Around 30,000 people attended Tuesday's protest, a much smaller number than expected by organisers, who blamed a working Tuesday for the low numbers. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn raged at the US president in a frothing speech at Parliament Square, who, by the way, has been charged with his own hate crimes or racist crimes. Not charged, sorry, I shouldn't say that, but been accused of being racist himself. People accusing him of being anti-Semitic and whatnot, condemning him for treating refugees like enemies, ignoring climate change, and trying to exploit the NHS for profit. Now look, at the end of the day, obviously, the thing is that, and this is why I was against anybody, that we were joking about this in the chat yesterday, and I was like, no, don't do it, because all they're going to do is basically go through and now use this to paint conservatives or Trump supporters or Tommy Robinson supporters as a threat. That's all it is, and she's absolutely stupid for doing this. Because all it's going to do is win people over onto her side for a start, or onto their side for a start, and away from Tommy Robinson. But a woman popped a massive balloon depicting President Trump as a baby in London on Tuesday. Deliberate protest for disrespecting the best president ever. This is a disgrace, she told bystanders in a video posted on Sunday newspaper. The President of the United States is the best president ever. It's unclear what she used to deflate the balloon, but she prompted people to yell in response. I think Donald Trump's balloon is not very well, she said as she walked away from the scene. He's going down rapidly for a reason. During the video, an officer appeared to confront her, prompting her to declare, "The police are coming for me, after me." Yes, well, you stabbed a balloon, you moron. What do you think was going to happen? She also seems to claim that her bloodied hand attempt as a result of her attempting to bust the baby balloon came from a biking accident. The video ended with the woman yelling and accusing the officer of injuring her. The balloon became a symbol of London's protesters' disdain for the president as he visited British leaders on Tuesday. The group that carried out the balloon reportedly attributed to the woman's actions to her far-right inclinations. I don't think she's far-right, but anyway. A woman I know of based Amy. I've seen her videos. I don't think she's far-right. A woman punched the mini-Trump baby replica with a sharp object, a group spokesman said, according to The Independent. There's no surprise that the far-right would want to meet freedom with expression with violence, which is what I was trying to say. You're literally giving them ammunition. You stupid woman. Like, oh my god. The mentality of some people is absolutely stupid. It really, really is. The incident was just the latest incident of tensions that were raised to political dangerous levels in Britain capital. An attempt to maintain their safety. Police reported barricade 20 Trump supporters in a pub amid protesters. One Trump supporter was shouted down as Nazi scum and had milkshakes thrown on him. I get the fact that the left are resorting to violence. I get that. I know. It's frustrating because you can't do anything about it. I get that. But the thing is that by you going through and deflating this balloon like you did, you stupid woman, all you're doing is you're giving them ammunition. All they can do now is they say, look at this situation where you literally had a Trump supporter busting a balloon, and all of a sudden all the milkshakes that they have ever thrown no longer have any relevance. Where you could once turn around and say, look, the left are throwing milkshakes, they're doing political violence. Now they can turn around and say, look at the person that busted the Trump balloon. It is absolutely stupid and idiotic to even think of doing something stupid like this. Because at the end of the day, all you're going to do is give them information. I get that, Eric. I know that a part of me is glad that someone did it too. But it's just going to, like you say, add fuel to the fire. It's going to make them to be able to justify anything else they want now. And it's the left. They are fucking rabid at doing that. They're going to be able to justify every political action now under the sun because someone busted the balloon. I know they threw the milkshakes first. I know they were stabbing candidates and everything like that. I know. And once where we had the higher ground, where we could turn around and say, we're not resorting to these tactics, We now have lost that because of this stupid woman. Because of her stupid, idiotic mistake of going out and stabbing this frigging thing. All it's going to do is make the Tommy Robinson supporters seem unhinged. This girl seems like a crazy woman. She seems completely insane, like the far left. She got triggered, and this is how they're going to phrase it, she got triggered by a balloon. What kind of loon gets triggered by a balloon? Well, forget the fact that it's political violence that the right is now starting to do. Like, forgetting that point alone, we'll talk about that in a sec. But just the optics of it is so freaking bad. Like, Jesus Christ, people, think for once in your lives, will you? And I'm talking to Amy here mostly when I talk to this. Based Amy. You're not friggin' that based, are you? You stupid woman. Obviously, in the end of the day, also the political violence aspect of it is not good. You don't want the right going through and stabbing things because they don't like the opinion of other people. The right is supposed to be standing, or the conservatives are supposed to be standing for freedom of speech. And at the end of the day, how is this standing for other people's rights for freedom of speech? Oh shit, it's not. And at the end of the day, you are no better than the right, than the left when they turn around and try and shut down a protest or shut down a debate. They say in this story here about the protesters going through and protesting this pub that are full of 20 Trump supporters. Throwing milkshakes on them. Where once we could have turned around and said, look at this, we don't do this shit. They now can turn around and say, look at Based Amy, she stabbed a balloon. You are no better than the left. And we have lost every argument countering that. All because of this stupid woman. Think about things for a little bit. Think about the optics before you go acting like a frigging nutcase and repeatedly stabbing a blimp or a balloon because you don't like the optics, because you don't like the fact there's a balloon. Who gives a shit? I think the balloon is completely stupid, right? But at the end of the day, who gives a shit? Let them have their frigging balloons. We can laugh at it. We can mock them. We can do memes about it. We can go through and we can make our own balloons of Sadiq Khan, who's wearing a suicide vest and a knife, for example. But guess what? Now, if we did that and the left would go through and to attack that balloon, we would have no right to compare them. We have no right to criticize them for that because we have our own person who went through and did the exact same thing. You're stupid in doing this because you're setting a precedence. You're setting a precedence where it's okay to go and attack someone's political stuff because you don't like their opinion. I get it. The pretense was already there because of the left. But we've lost every argument where we can turn around and say, we don't do this shit. We're better. Well, now because of this one idiot who stabbed a friggin' balloon, we no longer have that argument. I get it. I don't like the balloon either. I think it's stupid. I think it's completely insane. But I wouldn't have stabbed it because all it does is set a bad course and a bad argument for us. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Alright, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, Britain will regret Trump's state visit. Left-wing London Mayor Sadiq Khan said that the UK will regret inviting President Trump on a state visit and accused the US leader of being a poster boy for the far right. Speakers, which is really, really insane, considering the Jews are on his side. Like, how far right do you think Donald Trump is when he literally has the support of the Jewish community? Think about it, for example. Just think about that for a sec. Donald Trump is supposedly far right, yet Israel supports him. The people that were the direct people affected by the last person who was actually far right, Adolf Hitler, they are now supporting, supposedly, another far right. No, they're not, okay? At the end of the day, the interesting thing actually is that Adolf Hitler has a lot more in common with the left. Doesn't like the Jewish community. Backs Palestine over Jews any day of the week. Although that's also the far right. Like I say, look, at the end of the day, both left and right. Anyway, moving along. Speaking to Sky News on Thursday, Labour's London Mayor claimed that people espousing far right-wing views. I thought it's supposed to be far right. Now it's just right-wing. Right-wing views amidst the resurgence of conservatism in countries like Hungary, Italy, France, and the UK were fringe and far-right extremists. You tell that to Brexit. He blamed the backlash against the leftist propaganda, progressivism on the US president, saying their views are now mainstream and would have been normalised by Donald Trump, except for the fact that Brexit happened before Trump. Donald Trump is the poster boy for the far-right movement, and that's giving them even more credibility, he said, before adding and inviting the president was a mistake. I think years to come, by the way, we're going to regret giving the state visit to Donald Trump, he said. You will regret it, yes, because you will lose. You're going to lose your next election. At the end of the day, you have way bigger problems in your country right now, or in your city, than Donald Trump. You have people that are being robbed, murdered, stabbed with knives, whatever it may be. Crime is through the roof in London right now. And your biggest concern is, Trump feelings. His comments that the president had mainstreamed far-right groups across Europe echoes those made by the Pod Save America podcast, published Monday, in which Mr. Khan also accused the president of rolling back LGBT rights and women's reproductive rights. The remarks are the latest in a war of words between London Mayor and the US president, who yesterday branded Mr. Khan as a stone-cold loser. He's probably right about that. And compared him to the New York Mayor, Mr. Bill de Blasio, but shorter. The latest spat between the two men began over the weekend when Mr. Khan said in an interview that President Trump was just one of the most egregious examples of a growing global threat, and compared the language that he used to that of the fascist of the 20th century. In response to his criticisms, Mr. Trump branded Khan dumb and incompetent, and said that Mr. Khan should instead focus on the surge in crime under his jurisdiction rather than concerning himself with the president, and I would totally agree with that. Mr. Khan had past dealings with the president. On President Trump's visit to the UK in 2018, Mr. Khan reportedly facilitated the protest against him in London, even giving permission to carry out a balloon of President Trump to be flown as part of the demonstrations. Mr. Khan is not the only left-wing figure in the country to denounce the president. However, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn has also come under fire for his criticisms of the president. Corbyn spoke at a protest march on Tuesday against the President Trump's visit and boycotted a banquet hosted by the Queen on Monday evening. This is seen as many as hypocritical, as Corbyn has yet attended a dinner in honour of the President Xi Jinping of China, despite the country's human rights abuses. Which is really, really freaking interesting, isn't it? Oh, by the way, do you guys know that Sadiq Khan used to be a lawyer? And did you know that Sadiq Khan also represented the one and only anti-Semitic Farrakhan? Yes, the guy that literally referred to the Jews as termites. By the way, his words, not mine. Sadiq Khan represented him. Boy, isn't that interesting. It's really, really weird how he goes on about these far-right figures and these symbols of hate, but, has no problems dealing with them when it comes to defending them. He even went through and was one of the main people responsible for getting Louis Farrakhan back into the UK after he was banned for hate speech. He was one of the people leading the protest to let him back in the country. Has no problem with hate speech then, only has a problem with President Donald Trump, who I don't think does hate speech. But regardless, hey, Louis Farrakhan is a pinboard of health, right? He's a poster boy for love and tolerance. He's not anti-Semitic at all, right? Yeah, exactly. In chat, things are about to get harder for the right-leaners now. Yeah, with the censorship, we have no idea. It's going to get worse. It really, really is. It's going to get a lot worse than it's going to get better. But we'll just have to soldier through it. But Sadiq Khan's worried. This is what it is. He's worried because he knows he's not going to win a re-election. He knows he has a huge problem on his hands when it comes to, for example, his city. He knows that if Brexit goes through, he's not going to be able to import all these immigrants that are going to vote for him. His brothers and sisters. And at the end of the day, he knows that if Londoners, start taking back their city, that he will lose the next election. But I don't know if there's enough white people left in London to do that. I think at the moment, the last thing I saw, the last report I saw, was that there was no way London can ever go conservative. So, London has fallen. But, I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So, this is a bit of a follow-up to a story that we have already talked about. A giant rendering of US President Donald Trump aside a golden toilet while tweeting has appeared in central London ahead of protest on Mr. Trump's state visit. The 16-foot modelled, nicknamed Dump Trump, reportedly also has an audio function that makes fart noises, repeats the president's most famous statements, including "No collusion, witch hunt, you're fake news, and I'm a very stable genius." Dump Trump appeared early on Tuesday in Trafalgar Square ahead of the planned demonstration. It was designed by the US scientist, writer, and dinosaur expert Don Lism, who said he spent $25,000 of his own savings for it. Good on you. You go do that. You go spend $25,000 of your own money to make a frigging Dump Trump toilet statue. I don't care. If you want to send yourself bankrupt doing this, I fully support it. So Ivanka wows in sheer spotted black and white top and skirt combo in London. She is really, really hot, by the way. Oof. The first daughter looked just striking as ever in the long sleeve button-up spotted up top, where she paired with a majestic pleated skirt as she walked alongside the US ambassador to the UK, Woody Johnson. They entered Downing Street following the arrival of President Trump on the second day of Trump's visit to the United Kingdom. Absolutely stunning. Beautiful girl. I tell you what, say what you like, but God, I tell you what, Trump has some beautiful kids. Alright. Eric Swalwell reiterates pledge to take the AR-15s from law-abiding citizens. During the 4th of June 2019, appeared on The View, Democrat President hopeful Eric Swalwell reiterated his pledge to take the AR-15s and similar rifles away from law-abiding citizens. ABC News quoted Swalwell saying, "Ban and buy back every single assault weapon in America. I'm the only candidate calling for that." Swalwell has been making his push for over a year and has morphed into a central component of his current campaign. His ban has gone through many revisions along the way, but one thing has stayed constant. Commonly owned semi-automatic rifles will be banned and taken from law-abiding citizens. Those who do not comply will face punishment and fails somewhere between jail and being nuked. What? Punishment falls somewhere between jail time and being nuked. Okay. On the 16th of November 2018, Breitbart News reported that Swalwell suggested the government has nukes. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I got that. For those who refuse to comply with the ban. During the April 14th, 2019, CNN appeared he retracted the rhetoric backed by inciting the non-compliance would simply have received jail time. He did this after Jack Tapper noted that Swalwell's assault weapon ban includes criminal prosecution for those who do not comply. Swalwell then offered a third alternative by saying gun owners could also take their firearms to a gun range or hunting club and leave them there, which kind of is stupid because the whole idea is to be able to protect yourself. In short, Swalwell is running on a pledge to take AR-15s and similar automatic rifles away from law-abiding citizens. Which is really, really weird because something you won't hear in most of the mainstream media news is we actually had another mass shooting up in Darwin. Literally happened yesterday. I am going to put this. Darwin shooting. The shots were fired into flesh and blood. I was hearing people being shot. So, a father who witnessed the alleged Darwin shooter spotted shooter on a rampage that left 4 people dead has spoken about the moment he felt all hell broke loose. So let's also go. Alleged shooter was let go from roofing job just days before rampage. Days before, Ben Hoffman was tackled to the ground by heavily armed police after allegedly shooting 4 people dead in a rampage last night. He had been let go from a job that was his second chance in life. As Darwin reels from the scene of a horrific on its streets, it's been revealed that the heavily tattooed roofer comes from a respected local family. How the 45-year-old's life spun so far off the rails is not yet clear, but speaking at a press conference last night, Northern Territory Police Commissioner Reece Kenshaw said it wasn't Hoffman's first brush with the law. So, Australia has some of the toughest gun laws in history. And yet, we're still having shootings. Like, do you think these tough gun laws are stopping people from going out and committing violence if they really, really wanted to? I can point to an example where it hasn't. Right now, in Australia, we still have mass shootings. Big frigging surprise, criminals will still be able to get guns. Imagine my shock. So how is taking the AR-15s away from law-abiding citizens going to change that? Please let me know, Mr. Swalwell. Because at the end of the day, it ain't. It ain't going to do shit. And this is the same rhetoric that we saw before they came for our firearms. By the way, that gun buyback system that you keep hearing so much about in Australia, it's had to be revised 5 or 6 times because it still hasn't got rid of all the guns off the streets. Let me... The gun buyback system. Gun buyback program. Here it is here. Let me just show you this. This should show you the reiterations of it. So, right. Australia. Australia had a mandatory program in 1996 and 2003. Both programs were temporary and involved compensation to pay owners for firearms. Right? Now... Right. So, firearms category A, B, C, D, D, blah, blah, blah. Licensing, compliance, history. Right, so the Port Arthur massacre, right? The Monash University shooting in 2002, right? So, oh my God, there was a mass shooting after we had the gun buyback system. Who would have thought? Sydney 2014 hostage crisis. 2017, we're still getting these shootings happening. Even though we're supposedly going to be safer now because we don't have firearms. Really? Because we're seemingly still having them. I actually saw, I'd have to do I want to do a story on it. But yeah, it's... I want to do a story on it because it's been iterated and changed about 6 times to go through and to make the gun laws tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher so that they can go through and just try and weed out all the firearms, because imagine my shock, it didn't work. But you know, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. AG Barr is the second most dangerous man in the country. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff on Tuesday called Attorney General William Barr the second most dangerous man in the country, seemingly after President Donald Trump. We find ourselves, I think, for the first time with an Attorney General who really is the President's defense lawyer and spokesman, who is quite good at it, Schiff said in an event held by the Council of Foreign Relations. This is because they're scared of Schiff. They are scared because at the end of the day, scared of Barr, sorry. They are scared of Barr because at the end of the day, he is going after them. He is going after the Democratic Party who led this fake misinformation regarding this Steele dossier, and William Barr is going to start rounding people up, and they are scared shitless. That is what this is all about. Federal justice rejects House bid to stop Trump's border wall. A federal judge in Washington, D.C. on Monday ruled against the House Democrats who tried to block Trump administration from reallocating... actually, I might make this a separate topic. Alright, yeah, this is a separate topic. Federal judge rejects House bids to stop Trump's border wall. A federal judge in Washington, D.C. on Monday ruled against the House Democrat who tried to block the House Trump administration from reallocating Defense Department funds of a border wall. The U.S. District Judge Trevor McFarland said the House of Representatives does not have the standing to bring the challenge, calling it a political fight between two branches. While the Constitution bestows upon members of the House many powers, it does not grant them standing to ail an executive branch order into court claiming of dilution of Congress legislation authority, McFarland's decision reads. President Donald Trump declared a national emergency at the southern border in February and reprogrammed almost $6 billion to the border wall, in addition to the $1.4 billion appropriation Congress authority for border barriers. The Trump administration subsequently reallocated $600 million from the Treasury Department for Forfeiture Fund and $2.5 billion from the Defense Department counter-narcotics activities, and around $3.6 billion from the military construction. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House Democrats challenged the leader to reallocations, saying the administration's move harmed Congress' institutional power, and they accused Trump of violating the Administrative Procedural Act, or APA, and the Constitution's appropriations clause, which gives Congress the power of the purse. Though the courts have allowed legislators to bring cases allegedly in institution injury before, McFarlane said those few instances involved episodes where legislative power was effectively nullified. The judge said precedent, history, practice, and current conditions state Congress has many tools to block whatever steps the administration takes to appropriate money for the border wall. First and foremost, McFarlane noted that Congress could override Trump's veto of a resolution overturning his national emergency. Similarly, could also hold hearings on administration spending priorities, amend appropriations laws to inhibit the use of federal dollars for border wall construction, or expand remedies of private parties who sue the government to block the project. So this is by no means him going through saying, yep, Trump is right. This is him just turning around saying, Trump really does have the right of way on this. But hey, here's a whole bunch of other ways that you might be able to block it. So it's a step forward, but it's not by all end the end of the lawsuit. They're still going to go and try and stop bopping this wall. So, yeah. How Corbyn called Trump racist while ignoring anti-Semitism. Jeremy Corbyn addressed anti-Trump protesters Monday yesterday with a lecture on racism, specifically Donald Trump's racism. He even mentioned anti-Semitic, yet anti-Semitism has been the scandal of this leadership. Within the 3 years since Corbyn was hit by the first row, critics in the 2016 for being slow to remove of the whip from Bradford West PM Nance Sharon over remarks she made about Israel on a Facebook page. There have been almost too many incidents to describe. His praise for the mural that showed a group of Jews oppressing workers. His description of humans who are devoted to Israel's destruction as friends. His invitation to Parliament for Muslim cleric Radish Shadish, a man who... Please subscribe. Like I say, Jeremy Corbyn is just full of anti-Semitism, which is why I found it really, really funny that he would go through and try and claim that Trump's racist. Same as Sadiq Khan. Like I said, he went through and literally supported Louis Farrakhan as a lawyer. Try and work that one out. Might make this a separate topic. Honeymoon is over. While still leading Democrats field, Joe Biden slips in latest 2020 poll. Former Vice President Joe Biden has slipped the latest 2020 poll from CNN, dropping 7% from a month ago as the shine fades from his presidential campaign launch. Biden, who still leads the field at 32%, dropped 7 points from where he was in April's CNN poll, where he first jumped into the race. He leads over the next highest polling competitor, Senator Bernie Sanders. An independent running for the Democrat nominee has also been slashed by 10 points, dropping from a 24-point lead in April to a 14-point lead at the end of May. I don't trust polls as much as I can throw them. But, yeah. I think that, and I've said this several times, I think the military-industrial complex will try and get Joe Biden to go and to win the nominee because they're more likely to work with him than they are with someone like Bernie Sanders. That's my prediction. Dirty Cop... Oof. So, notably, Dirty Cop Robert Mueller selectively edited Trump lawyer's voicemail. Oof. The Mueller report, which debunked the media's Russia collusion and hoax, cleared Trump of obstruction, contains a transcript of a voicemail left of attorney from Donald Trump to an attorney for former National Security Michael Flynn that's selectively edited to look incriminating. The transcript is in the second part of the report, the part where Dirty Cop Mueller attempts to pretend President Trump is guilty of obstruction of justice. Spoiler alert, it's not even close. If you look at the text of the voicemail that Mueller reports, which debunked the media's Russia collusion hoax and cleared Trump of obstruction, close to publish, it gives an entirely different impression from the full transcript, which was just released just last week. This is a November 2017 voicemail left by Trump's attorney, John Dower, for Flynn attorney Robert Kellier. Now he wrote, I understand the situation, but let me see if I can't state this in the stark terms. It would surprise me if you've gone to make a deal with the government if there's information that implicates the president when you've got a national security issue, so you know. You need some kind of heads up, just for the sake of protecting all of our interests so that we can remember what we've always said about the president and his feelings towards Flynn, and that still remains. But now you can read the full text of the message, which Dirty Cop Mueller did not want you to see. Hey Rob, this is John again. Maybe I'll be sympathetic. I'll understand your situation, but let me see if I can't state this in stark terms. Okay, so they cut out that first part for a start. If you have, and it wouldn't surprise me if you're going to make a deal with working with the government, I understand that you can't join the joint defense. So that's one thing. If on the other hand there's information that implicates the president, then we've got a national security issue, or maybe a national security issue, I don't know. Some issue we're going to have to deal with, not only for the president, but for the country. So, then we can, without you having to give up any confident information. So, that's the former, then, remember that we've always said about the president, his feeling towards Flynn, and that still remains. But, well, in any event, let me know, and I'll appreciate you listening and taking the time. Thanks, pal. So, it's vastly different than what they were saying. There's a fair bit that's been cut out. The important thing is obviously what I presume is in bold. So they've got an issue we've got to deal with, not only for the president, but for the country. So, yeah. You see what Mueller did there? He deliberately left out. His transcript leaves the impression that Dowell is doing something inappropriate. He's going behind everyone's back, looking to get information, even after the door is closed on that cooperation due to Flynn's decision to make a deal with special counsel. But if you look closely at the full transcript, Dowell is very specific about not wanting any information that he should not have, not wanting any confidential information. That one little sentence, without you having to give up any confident information, is what's called exemplary. And there's only one reason Mueller would remove it, and that's to further his attempt to frame Trump, even though he has to manufacture evidence, or in this case, hide exemplary evidence in order to do so. So let's keep that in mind. The Mueller report, which has debunked the media's Russia collusion hoax and cleared Trump of obstruction, was over 400 pages long. So Weiss Mueller's decision to selectively edit this voicemail had nothing to do with this saving space. What you have here is Exhibit A, showing what a dirty prosecutor does to frame the accused. Dow understandably was furious over what Mueller did. This is clear and baseless political document designed to smear and damage the reputation of counsel and innocent people, Dow said last week. Dev Newmans described Mueller actions as an outright fraud. So, yeah. I think this is bad. I think this is really bad that he would go through and do this. But, yeah. I don't know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I'm not surprised. We knew Mueller was deep state. I've always said that. So I'm not surprised he would try and frame the president or try and make incriminating evidence. And I don't think it was to save space. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright, oh boy, Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes has done an oopsie, to quote, PewDiePie. Wanda Sykes, she's done two, actually. Wanda Sykes spent some of her time on ABC's The View Tuesday mocking an old couple who walked out on her show because she was bashing President Donald Trump. We do have that video. We will play that for you right now.
Hey, how are you, dear? Hello, lady.
Been a while.
You know, Trump tweeted his support for Pride Month. Are you surprised? I mean, it's shocking, isn't it?
That's the most ridiculous. I mean, everything he does is just phony. Everything is just a lie. How you going to say Happy Pride and then say transgender people can't serve in the military?
Yeah.
You know, he's just full of it.
Because at the end of the day, people in the military that have a 44% suicide rate is not good. That is why they're not in the military. He's literally gone through and said that transgender and homosexuals and whatnot should be. I'm trying to think of the word. He's pushing other countries to be more accepting of these people. But you won't mention that, for God's sake, will you? No, of course not.
Just full of it.
That's a lot to carry, though, when you're that full. You know what I mean? You think a little bit would just all the way out.
Right. There is not a sincere bone in his body.
No, he lies.
The bones first.
Oh, that's right.
So the special is called Not Normal. So when people come to your show, wait a minute. Now, is this me saying this? Because it had my name over it. Is this you saying this?
No.
She said, because but look, when people come to my show, I tell them off the top, and I swear, in case they might want to leave,
you give them a warning.
Okay.
That's what you say at the beginning of your show.
Yes.
You give them
that's you. Yeah.
Okay.
Because, out touring and doing stand-up in this climate right now, I noticed
it's
that
very politically correct.
Very politically, and if I didn't start off with, like, Trump jokes, I can see all my fans sitting there like, come on, bring it. When is it coming? And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to start off with the Trump jokes up front, and then I would see maybe like 10 or 12 people get up and leave and protest. One of the funniest, you missed the show. You should have been there. You was about to come to the show in Florida, right? So I'm doing the Trump stuff, and and this old lady gets up and she's mad. She's about to walk out, right? So she gets like maybe 20 feet down the aisle, and she's cursing at me and everything, and she's like trying to storm out, and then she turns and she has to wait for her husband, and he's in a walker. I'm like, this is just the saddest walkout I've ever seen. I was like, y'all might as well stay. By the time you get to the door, I'm gonna be on to something else.
Right.
Look, at the end of the day, I don't think anything she said there was wrong. Look, she's a comedian. I think at the end of the day, she has a full right to go through and to say what she wants. You obviously don't have to go to a show. You don't want to support it, don't go to it. So yeah, I do think it's quite interesting that she's literally admitting that she has to pander to her audience. But regardless, to be honest, was it bad taste? Maybe, but she's a comedian. I don't want to be the person that goes through and says that comedians can't make jokes, because then, people turn around and say that about Count Dankula, for example. Yeah, I know. They're lying about the president. I know. It's. But Wonder Sex says only vote for Biden if he gets a boyfriend. So this is a really bad oopsie. Let's look at this one.
How do we not allow the not normal to become normal?
That's the baffling question. Like, because it keeps, every day it gets crazier and crazier. So I'm like, in 2020, we need to, well, first of all, he should have been impeached. I mean, I don't understand why everybody's scared, like, let's not upset the election. All right, well, fine. Yeah. Well, I think in 2020, we need to do a 180, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, give me the old lady, the black lady, or the gay guy.
I don't care who it is.
That's all I'm going with.
Who's the old lady?
Elizabeth. Give me Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, or Pete Buttigieg. That's
how about the old man? Where's he on your list?
We've had the old white men over and over again. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of old white men.
These old white people, they want somebody who looks...
Would that be racist? If I was to say that I was sick of old black women, would I be considered racist? Just saying.
Looks like them. Did you notice that? That's probably why Biden is ahead.
That Biden is ahead?
No, you know why Biden's ahead? Because everybody believes he can clean it quick.
Everybody believes
he can clean it up like that.
And he
Yeah.
can do it. But I'm going to tell you,
Yeah.
if Biden gets a boyfriend, he has my vote.
That's not going to happen.
That's all I need. Little man on the side, we're good.
You also
So, literally turning around saying you're only going to vote for a candidate if he gets a boyfriend. Wow, the identity politics is strong in this one, is it not? Look, at the end of the day, I have a problem with what she's saying here. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec, Eric. But yeah, at the end of the day, her going through and claiming this is just showing identity politics. Biden's not going to have a boyfriend. And Biden's not going to clean shit up, women. Okay? He is deep state. Biden is literally the military-industrial complex. If you think Biden is going to clean anything up, you're very sadly mistaken, okay? The deep state is going to keep doing what it normally has done for the past 50-odd years. So, good luck with that theory. I do have a problem with her saying that she's only going to vote for people because of race, colour. That has just been a racist to me. I don't want to vote for you because you're white. Because you're an old white man. I'm not voting for you. That to me is... That's just racist. That's just plain out racist. It's the same with, like, for Elizabeth Warren, for example, claiming that she was part Cherokee, or she ended up being one in 124, I think it was, and then the DNA sample they used wasn't actually Native American. It was actually from, like, down in South America or something. So even then, the whole ancestry thing could be thrown into question. Like, you're going to vote for Elizabeth Warren. She literally said that she would vote for Elizabeth Warren. For why? Because she's a woman. That's all it takes to get Londa Sykes to vote for you, is because you're a woman. The identity politics is really strong in this one. As for the comments, the 180 isn't going to happen. Biden looks like a kid more than a man. Biden looks like a creepy uncle that is grabbing onto kids like a predator. But anyway. The 180 isn't going to happen. No, I don't think it will either. I think at the end of the day, Trump is going to win 2020. And these people are going to have a bigger frigging meltdown than they've already got. Trans people are mentally unstable. They shouldn't be anywhere near firearms. It's not... Okay, so that's what Eric is saying in chat before anybody goes using it. It's not actually too far. Look, the fact is that that's right. The trans people do have mental stability issues. There is a 44% suicide rate. And this whole argument of they just need to have their bodies match their gender. No, it doesn't. Because even after they've gone through and they've had the surgeries and they become a complete woman, they still do not change that much in the suicide rate. The suicide rate is still over 40%. I'm sorry, I do not want to go putting someone in a high stress, high chance of losing your shit. We have men who are completely mentally sound coming back with war, with PST, depression, all these sort of mental issues. These are men who are completely sound of mind who end up in that situation. And what do you want to do? You want to throw someone in that situation that has a 40% suicide rate. You can guess what's going to happen. That's also not talking about the other things like medications, surgeries or whatever. The downtime of soldiers, for example, that have to get their surgeries done because apparently the government's got to pay for it. Like, it's a whole can of worms. If Trump was really against the LGBT community, he wouldn't tweet out support for Pride Month. He wouldn't have mentioned them in his acceptance speech when he won 2016. He wouldn't go through several times, he's done it a couple of times now, and push for countries like Saudi Arabia who have a problem with homosexuals, by the way, which, no one here is actually talking about because, don't touch that elephant in the room. But yeah, don't talk about Saudi Arabia, where Trump has literally gone through and said these countries need to start accepting more of homosexuality. or that these countries need to work to improve their relations when it comes to the LGBT community. Or Indonesia, for example. Where are the people talking about Indonesia being homophobic? No, nowhere has that ever been mentioned. Yet, Indonesia is one of the 6 countries in the world where you can still be thrown off a roof for being gay. But anyway, it was one in, it was actually one in 1024, actually, James. But yeah. Reread my comment, Ripanda. He likes kids more than men. I don't see that comment. I don't see your comment. Oh, Biden likes... Oh, yeah, I hadn't got that far yet. Sorry, man. Yeah. Biden likes kids more than men. Meh. And one in 20,000. One in 124, I think it was. Meltdown coming soon. Yeah, the left is going to lose their shit when Trump wins 2020. They really, really are. It's going to be funny to watch. It really is. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on Wanda Sykes saying this stuff? Saying that she's only going to vote for candidates who are gay, women, or who are gay, or who are, of different races. Black people, for example. To be honest, I find this incredibly sexist. Incredibly racist and, yeah, heterophobic. That should be a new word. Heterophobic. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Politico. Oh. So, we have to go through and claim that Politico is false news now. Maybe we should get them banned off the internet. Politico falsely claims that pastor apologizes for Trump prayer. Congress supports him. Congregants support him, sorry. Politico claimed Monday that Pastor David Blatlow of Lynn Bible Church had apologized to Congress for his decision to pray for President Donald Trump during the latter's impeachment Sunday visit, but congregants are backing up the pastor, and it's not clear that he actually apologized. Trump visited the church Sunday to pray for the victims of Friday's workplace shooting in Virginia Beach. Before leaving the United Kingdom, Pastor Platt prayed for Trump and his congregants to do the same. We pray that the president will look to you and would trust in you. He would lean on you, and that you would govern and make the decisions in ways that you feel justice and good for redress and good for equality and good path. Later, the pastor posted a statement about the president's visit on the church website. Based upon this text, I know that it's good and pleasing in the sight of God to pray for the president, so that in a moment I decided to take this unique opportunity as a church to pray over him together. My aim was to no way to endorse the president, his policies, or his party, but to obey God's command to pray for our president and other leaders to govern in the way this passage portrays. So it looks like, I think we actually reported on this, saying that he did. That he did apologise. Appears that we were wrong too. Obviously, we just go by what the news says. We try and fact check as much as we can, but in some of the situations, it's really hard because we don't have witnesses there. But Virginia pastor explains prayer for Trump after some hurt by it. So Northern Virginia pastor who prayed for Trump on stage after an unscheduled visit Sunday explained why he did so, acknowledging some within our church are hurt, and I made the decision. David Platt, McLean Bible Church pastor, told his congregation in a statement that his aim was in no way to endorse the president, his policy, or his party, but to obey God's command to pray for our president and other leaders as mentioned in the Bible. While the megachurch was not one of the churches that joined Reverend Frank Graham's special day of prayer for Trump, Platt acknowledged it from the platform, adding that we do not want this just on Sunday. We want to do it continually, day in and day out. Platt reads the same portion of Scripture, Timothy 2, 1-6, that Graham shared with specifically calls for believers to prayer those in high positions before he prayed for 2.5 minutes of wisdom for the president and the leaders across the nation, explaining that his members it's a good and pleasing in the sight of God to pray for the president. I don't have a problem with him doing this. Even if you don't support Trump, I think at the end of the day, you should be able to not support him, but at least you shouldn't want anything to happen to him as a result of being president. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. We've already talked about that. Oh boy, Kanye West. Liberals treatment Trump supporters like enemies of the people. To which they're probably going to respond, but he is. Kanye West said liberals are bullying supporters of President Donald Trump and threatening them like enemies, treating them like enemies of the people in an interview with David Letterman, now airing on Netflix. Dave Letterman's still going, is he? Wow. Letterman, who wondered if people who endorse Trump's views are indirectly hurting some of his supporters who are ultimately being victimized by his administration. Letterman wondered if people who endorse Trump's views are indirectly hurting some of his supporters. I don't get that, but anyway. West replied, well, you know how you feel for the people who voted for him and that have been treated like enemies of America, because that's what they feel like they had that opportunity. Let's just watch the clip.
You know what I was stunned by in the midterm elections was the aggressive organization and attempt at voter suppression. Now, we're not talking about 1918, we're talking about 2018. And it's still going on and being encouraged. So if I see a person I admire talking about Donald Trump can think whatever he does, I wonder if those thoughts indirectly aren't hurting people who are already being hurt.
Well, how do you feel for the people that voted for him that are being treated like enemies of America because that's what they felt and they had that opportunity?
Every time there's a presidential election, time for a change, time for a change. It's endemic. It's part of the system. And it's what keeps this democracy in motion. And it's always the argument, you know what this country needs is a businessman to run it like a business. So the people that voted for him, I understand that. But I wondered to myself, are these people ultimately going to be victimized? And I think now the people in good faith looking to get the country to help them a little more than it has by electing a business guy, I think are now being hurt for it. And I would think that would not try it again.
Have you ever been beat up in your high school for wearing the wrong hat?
I just been beat up because people didn't like me.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying.
The idea is the bullying.
Who's the bully in this scenario?
Well, definitely liberals bully people who are Trump supporters. It's not just calm. You can't just go and wear the hat. You can't just go. It's like, fuck you. Fuck you. Like, it's like, bro, I have... People, the thing is, in America, we have rights, and we have rights to open the conversation.
Well, nobody's arguing that there should be an ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think you meet any resistance there. Things need to be talked about.
Interesting clip. At the end of the day, I wasn't aware David Letterman was still doing a talk show. Looks really different with the beard. But at the end of the day, I think Kanye has a good point where he turns around and says that people that are voting for Trump are being victimized because of wearing the wrong hat. Because at the end of the day, they don't have the right opinions. There is a lot of political violence that happens to Trump supporters. Yes, there is some political violence that happens on the other side as well. But the overwhelming majority of it, from what I can see from my little view of the world, is that it's mostly going one way. I don't see Bernie Sanders supporters being dragged out of their cars and beaten. That, like what happened to a Trump supporter back in 2016, I think it was. At the end of the day, I think that Letterman's sitting there. His argument is that people tried to vote for Trump because he was a businessman, and now they're no longer liking Trump because of his policies. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think at the end of the day, if people voted for Trump because of his policies, then at the end of the day, I think they're going to sit there and say, okay, well, if that's the case, Trump has lowered unemployment. He has, gone through and kickstart the American economy, bringing back manufacturing. He's, lowering food stamp requirements for people needing food stamp, which is a good thing. He is giving people back money with their tax incentives. If you voted for Trump because he's a businessman, it is actually working. Trump's businessman ideas is actually making America's economy moving along. And they have had a 3.25% growth, I think it was, every quarter. Every quarter they constantly hit that. And I don't think Obama hit that every single quarter. Now, at the end of the day, yes, it will cap out at some certain stage because there's only so much you can do with an economy. But at the moment, it is 3% every quarter. So if you voted for Trump because at the end of the day, he's gone through and he's a businessman, you were smart because that businessman is doing a good job when it comes to running the US economy. Big freaking surprise. It's what I've always said. I've always said it even to my parents and everybody here in Australia. I said Australia needs a businessman to run it. Because an economy or a country is the same as a business. Money comes in, money comes out. It's all deductions, it's all wages, whatever you want to call it. It is the same principle. At the end of the day, Trump being a businessman has been a really good thing for the US economy. So I do think that David Letterman's argument here is a little bit null and void. And I think Kanye West was extremely relaxed. I think he was extremely, you can see in the chair. I'll see if I can rewind it. Like here it is here. You can see. You can see slide back, slouch back. Yeah. Eric, it has to at some point. At some point there will be a slowing down. But yeah, I don't doubt. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that it'll plateau at some point. But now it's boom. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's it. At the moment, at some point it will plateau, or it will slow down. But at the moment, 3% plus every quarter, unheard of. Obama never did it. Trump, Obama turning around saying, we're not going to be able to bring back manufacturing jobs. Those jobs are lost. You know what was Trump's response? Abracadabra, motherfucker. Here's our manufacturing jobs back. And every time Trump makes a business decision regarding the US economy, it pays off. This is what Satellite and I had a disagreement about. Or not disagreement, but a discussion about. I said to him, he was going on about the tariffs. My argument was that everything that Trump has done up until this point regarding the US economy has worked. So even though I can see Satellite's point regarding these tariffs, my argument is I'm going to give Trump the benefit of the doubt because at the moment, everything he's done has worked. So until then, until he starts falling flat on his ass a few times, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. What magic wand do you have? Trump's response. Yeah. Yeah. Let me actually edit that because it wasn't there. Yeah. You can repost it if you want. Yeah. I'll read it out for you. But I think Kanye West had a really good point. That the liberals are being targeted. They're targeting Trump supporters just because they're wearing the wrong frigging hat. What magic wand do you have? Trump, I don't need a magic wand. Exactly. He doesn't. He's a freaking businessman. He's turned a $1 million investment into a $3.5 billion empire. He turned around I think it was in the 80s or 90s or whatever it was, and was in debt over $1 million, pulled himself out of the debt, and ended up having $3.5 billion empire. He knows how to make money. And guess what? The US economy is nothing more than a business. Money comes in, money comes out. Trade sanctions and stuff like that, trade deals and stuff like that, it's negotiating. Oh my God, who would have thought actually getting a guy who wrote a book called The Art of the Deal would be a bad idea? It ended up being a really good one. Funny that, isn't it? I think I got that wrong way back. Who would have thought that would have been a good idea? Bad idea. Yeah, anyway. But you get the point. Trump wrote that book, The Art of the Deal. And it is something that he's always used in negotiations. But I don't know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. That said, I'm surprised that David Letterman's still doing talk shows. Like, God, how old is he now? Jeez. So Elizabeth Warren pitches climate change job plan costs $2 million per job. So Democrat Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren laid out her $2 trillion plan to fight global warming while creating jobs, mirroring the goals of highly publicity Green New Deal. Warren, who's running for the Democrat president nominee in 2020, proposed Tuesday 3 major policy programs to spend $2 trillion over a decade to create 1 million jobs. That comes out to 1 job for every 2 million spent. The climate crisis demands increasement and bold action, Elizabeth Warren wrote in a Medium post. We're likely to have before. We should have banked on America and generally, and America works to lead the global effort to face down this threat to create more than 1 million good jobs here at home. This is a challenge, but like the challenge America has faced before, it's also an opportunity, Elizabeth Warren pitching her plan as a way for American business to dominate the future markings in the green energy technology. If elected, Elizabeth wants to implement her own version of the Green New Deal, which has become a litmus test for the Democrats running as a president seeking support from environmental activists. The United States is currently projected to spend roughly $1.5 trillion in the next 10 years on defense procurements, a bloated number that is far beyond what we need to keep ourselves safe. We should spend at least that much on purchasing American-made clean energy technology to address the climate change crisis that threats us all, Elizabeth Warren wrote. Democrat National Representative Alexandria Cortez, Chief of Staff and architect of the Green New Deal, praised Warren's climate change plan, though he called for more government spending because, according to every socialist, the government has an open checkbook. So, look, at the end of the day, I like the fact that they're thinking about making American jobs. I don't like the fact that it's going to cost $2 million per job. So, yeah. But I don't know. I think this whole climate change thing is a load of crap, to be honest. But I don't know. Far left CNN suffers double-digit primetime ratings crash in May. How low can the ratings go? The news just keeps getting worse and worse for far-left CNN, which suffered a 16% primetime ratings collapse last month. The embattled CNN, which always lands is far last place and axed more than 100 jobs already this year, had about as bad a rating month as possible in May. Its primetime hours were only to average a measly 761,000 viewers, while the fake news outlet total daytime viewers drove 9% compared to the same time last month to just dove 9% compared to the same time last month to just 559,000 viewers. For comparison, Fox News earned 3 times as many primetime viewers with 2.3 million and more than twice as many total daytime viewers, 1.34 million. What's more is that when you compare the same amount last year, Fox lost none of its primetime viewers and only 4% of its total daytime viewers. The most astonishing thing is that CNN's ratings are already so low, it seems impossible they could dive any lower, and yet they always do. Do you have any idea how low 761,000 primetime viewers is? How does nationally known brand like CNN, a brand that is decades old and only managing to attract 761,000 viewers throughout a Gozozo News month in a country of over 300 million? Because they're fake news. Because they've lost all credibility. Exactly, that's what it is. No one believes CNN anymore. No one believes fake news. The thing about this is, at the end of the day, that this is actually going to hurt their advertising revenue. So what they can do is, what they do with these ratings, for example, right? They turn around, they say to advertisers, we want to charge you X amount of money because we get X amount of views. Now, if that viewership continues to drop, like it's been, then at the end of the day, they can't ask for that same amount of money. The companies that are going through and doing the advertisers will go through and say, we want to renegotiate our deal. Or when the deal comes up for renegotiation, they're like, well, you're only getting, 1/3 of what you used to, so we're only going to pay you 1/3. And that causes a flow-on effect, whether they then have to start laying off staff because they don't have the revenue, because they no longer have the ad revenue. So this is very bad news for CNN. This is terrible news for CNN. Maybe they should have been a little bit more nonpartisan. I don't know, guys. But look, it says here that the encephalic Jake Tapper, the guy Zuck put at 4 p.m., acted as primetime anchor as lead in the rest of the night, leading in a pathetic 36th place with only 700,000 viewers, which is 55,000 viewers than CNN's primetime average. Among CNN shows, Jake Tapper used to regularly place in the top 3. As far as total viewers, he's now in 6th place among fake news colleagues. CNN's flagship morning New Day is a laughing stock with just 485,000 average viewers. New Day is losing by about 80,000 viewers to Fox and Friends first, which airs at, get this, 4 p.m. So they're on a different time zone. They're at an earlier time zone, and Fox News and Friends is actually doing better at ratings. So they're on a worse time zone, or worst time slot, and they're getting better ratings. Wow. But I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. How bad do you think CNN will go? Yeah. But anyway. Alright, so, I don't know how... I kind of support this, but I'm worried about the implications. Alabama passes bill requiring chemical castration for certain child molesters. Alabama's measure that would require certain child sex offenders to undergo chemical castration before being released from prison is awaiting the government's signature. The bill, known as HB 379, was introduced by Republican State Senator Steve Hurl and targets child sex offenders whose offence involves anyone under the age of 13, according to legislation. They have marked this child for life, and the punishment should fit the crime, which I understand. I get that. I fully support the punishment. I just don't want to see anybody that's innocent have this. And I also don't think that this is going to change the situation, because I think if they can't penetrate the kid, and I know I'm saying this very badly, but they will find something else to do it. So I don't think this is going to stop them from molesting children. Maybe. I don't think it will. The offenders will be required to foot the bill for the procedure. Refusing to undergo the castration would constitute a violation of parole, the bill relieves. Hurst said that it's aimed to reduce the number of sex crimes committed by children against children by potential offenders thinking twice before they act. Yeah, but that doesn't stop the problem either, does it? They're still going to have those thoughts running through their heads. They're just not going to act on them, which is better, I suppose. But I would much rather want to know why they're attracted to the kids in the first place. If we do something of this nature, it would deter something like this happening again, and Alabama may reduce the numbers. I've had people call me in the past when I introduce it. Do you think that this is inhuman? Hurst said of the bill. I asked them what's more inhuman is when you take a little infant child and you sexually molest that child. When the child cannot defend themselves or get away, they have to go through the whole thing they have, which I get. Yes, it's horrific that children or anybody underage would be molested. I get that. I really, really do. I don't have a problem with that part of it. I just don't think it's going to change anything because I think that at the end of the day, they will find some other way of getting themselves off. I don't know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below regarding this. So, Alabama mayor called for killing out gay people. I had to actually double check this. I've fact checked this and he actually did say it. The mayor of Alabama town reportedly called for killing out gay people since deleted Facebook comment. Mark Chambers lumped homosexuals and transvestites together with baby killers and socialists in the post, according to TV station WBRC. The Carbon Hill mayor reportedly maintained his words have been taken out of context before apologizing. Gay rights group has demanded his resignation. The mayor could not be immediately reached for comment. According to WBRC, Mr. Chambers posted on Facebook the graphic that read in all the capital letters, "We live in a society where homosexuals lecture us on morals, transvestites lecture us on human biology, baby killers lecture us on human rights, and socialists lecture us on economics." The mayor reportedly commented on the post, "The only way to change it would be to kill the problem out. I know it's bad to say, but without killing them, there's out there no way to fix it." Now, in his defense, if you want to try and make the argument, maybe he was talking about the socialists and the baby killers. Maybe. But yeah, the post is actually legit. The comment prompted for the mayor to step down, including from the Alabama branch of the Human Rights Campaign. The group called Mr. Chambers' comments horrifying, unconstitutional, and unacceptable. LGBTQ people faced appropriate lessons of violence and harassment in their daily lives. The fact is especially true in Alabama. Mayor Chambers must be held accountable. Mr. Chambers has given no signal that he will step down as mayor of Carbon Hill, a town of less than 2,000 people, 150 miles, 240 kilometers north of the state capital of Montgomery. When WBRC contacted Mr. Chambers, he initially declined writing the comment, according to the Benjamin Alabama-based news station. But in subsequent call, he reportedly told WBRC he had made the comment public by mistake and intended to send it privately to a friend. During his phone call with the TV station, Mr. Chambers also repeatedly mentioned immigration in the US, calling them ungrateful and arguing they were taking over his country, or over the country. The US media reports that Mr. Chambers posted an apology to his Facebook, writing, "Although I believe my comments were taken out of context, I was not targeting the LGBT community. I know that was wrong to say should anything be killed." Mr. Chambers is mayor of Carbon Hill since 2014. According to the town website, he ran for office because Carbon Hill was not going in a positive direction. Look, I get his comments. If he was talking about, for example, the baby killers and stuff like that, I fully get that. Look, I don't know. Do I think he should resign? Probably not. Look, we all share things on Facebook, on Twitter. Shit, you go through some of my Twitter timeline. Which reminds me, I probably should pay that sooner or later. But like I say, look, at the end of the day, yeah, it's you know, look, yeah. I'm joking about purging my timeline, by the way. But like I say, yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't think he should stand down. I think at the end of the day, if people don't like him, they won't re-elect him. And he's got to come up for re-election sooner or later. So, let the people decide. Let the people have their own right. But guys, that's basically where we're going to leave it today. We've just gone over 2 hours, haven't we? Yeah, just over 2 hours. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in any comment section of the comment section below. What are your thoughts on any of the things that were covered today? I know there's a lot, but yeah, feel free to smack that comment section and we'll have a discussion in the comments below. Apart from that, guys, obviously, big shout out to everybody who has been here the whole day. For 2 hours, you listened to me prattle on and tell the news. So congratulations. I appreciate you guys so much because I don't know if I would do it. But yeah, Eric, obviously, TL's been in chat. Who else was there? James P's been there for a bit. Tripwire was there for a bit. So look at the end of the day, guys, obviously big shout out to everybody who's gone through and who's watched the show or who will watch the show later on demand. Obviously we'll re-upload some of these smaller segments as well, because it obviously helps with sub counts and video views and stuff like that. Yesterday's videos were a bit late, so I'm going to try and get them earlier. I literally forgot to upload them before I went to work, which is what I normally do. Apart from that, guys, look, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I'm going to sign off for the day. Thank you, everybody who has supported this show. Thank you, everybody that smacks that like button. Thank you, everybody who shares these videos, because apparently for YouTube, that's the biggest thing these days. Apart from that, guys, we will see you guys tomorrow. Love yous. Have a great night, and be safe.